Hello and welcome back to Foxy TV. In episode 116, we revisit the topic of being flexible as a business and changing plans on the go. We give you a look at a couple of installs that we had on this week, and we go to a property where the sellers invested $15,000 in staging and renovations, and we speak to the agent on site about how it all went. We've touched on the topic of being adaptable and how important it is for Foxy Home staging in previous episodes, but this week we had another great example, so we're going to be diving back in. Let's head to a pack up in Tarragindi where Phoebe will explain a little bit further.
Right there. Right there. It couldn't have been worse, could it? All right, I'll just meet Kath. We won't pack Percy Street up today. We can get Percy Street packed up on Thursday. All right. Yeah, I'll just call Bianca and Bianca will go and meet you there. That's fine. I know, but I wanted a set of 6 back in the warehouse because we've got very few 6 square, which is why they...
So, what ended up happening with the backup?
So we rocked up and it's a really little street and there's a, what do they call it, a wood chopper? Wood chopper?
I don't know.
Like someone chopping wood in the street with his big machine and blocking just right out the front of 45 Percy Street. So nothing happened at the install either. We couldn't pack up today. They're there tomorrow as well. So we'll pack it up on Thursday. So easy as, but inconvenient, but they were there first.
Does this happen quite often?
The wood chopper, no, it's the first time. But changing our plans, yeah. So yesterday happened as well. So we're fortunate today that pack up was just happening and going back to the warehouse. So there wasn't going into an install. We weren't relying on that stuff. Yesterday, we had one that the agent texted on Friday, said go for it. Can we do it on Tuesday? I text back and said, oh, I can't do Tuesday, I can do Monday. And then I didn't hear back from him and I just thought everything was all good. But it turned out he didn't get back to me because he was out of the country and it wasn't all good, so we couldn't pack it up. So it was a bit tricky yesterday because we did need everything. So we needed to do a big shuffle of the day to make sure that we still had the right pieces of furniture to go into the install in the afternoon. So changes to the schedule happen often, and like we had an install happening today, 3-bedroom. Last night they texted and said, oh, actually, we just want to do the 1-bedroom, so we switched it. So it's just about being flexible, but finding, you just said, the silver lining and everything. Like it doesn't bother me, but we're not paying for the logistics team either. We're not paying a hire company to bring it out, or a hire company then to come out only for me to have to cancel when they get there. So there's no additional, like we figured it out. The boys were there when we rocked up and then they have wasted half an hour of their time, but it would have just been half an hour that they were having jokes and having fun at the warehouse. So it's not like they've lost out on much. So yeah, it's just about being flexible.
And here's another little example from the same day, a bit later in the afternoon back at the warehouse, of how quickly things can change.
I thought we've already done the schedule.
In between me uploading it and coming up the stairs, it was probably admittedly 5 minutes. It changed it after taking half an hour to do it.
So context, we had a job that we were going to pack up. I confirmed with the agent all was good to go ahead. Their settlement was going to get put forward. It wasn't yet unconditional. They're just waiting on one more term. They thought it was looking pretty good. And then I confirmed access for tomorrow and the contract's fallen over. So we filled the gap up with another one that's unconditional, but it means changing the day around for both trucks to make it work.
So that all happened on Tuesday this week. Let's now head to Wednesday, where I was in the truck and I got some, just a few little quick videos of a couple of installs. Because I was in the truck, I didn't get to hang around to see the end results of these installs. So I've had Cassie and Janessa, they've uploaded their photos from the install, so we'll show you some of those. We'll start in Camira, which is out towards Ipswich, on a very foggy morning. Cassie, where are we this morning?
We are in Camira this morning for a partial.
Yeah, so it's a massive house, but we're not using...
Yeah, huge
we don't have
house.
too much of our own furniture here.
No, so we're only really focusing on 2 of the living spaces and the master bedroom, just so that their photos can stand out from everyone else.
All right, we're out of here. You going to be all right?
I'm going to be okay.
All right, have fun.
See ya.
It was then on to Yeronga for a pack-up of a property that sold that we installed, and then on to Parkinson, for our second install.
We have a decent sized install in Parkinson.
Yep.
So 4-bed, 2 living. This one they've chosen instead of recarpeting and repainting to do styling. So we've got some fun feature walls and some bit of older style carpet, but we're going to give it a fresh life. So give it some inspiration, so help people visualize the potential in the home.
And covering up a lot of that damaged carpet.
Yes, yeah, kind of distracting from, as you can see, we've got a lovely like maroon wall behind us, so kind of playing away from the colours, brightening it up and yeah, giving it a new life.
What's up, Jake? You got a bit of an issue with the couch here?
Not an issue, just a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a bit chunky, and so we're going to have to figure out how to get it through the doorway, but we've got a couple of options, so we'll make it work.
Thursday we headed back to Tarragindi to the pack-up that we couldn't get access to that we showed you earlier in the episode. The sellers of this property invested quite a bit of money into staging and into small works and renovations. So Eva took the camera out with Phoebe and met Kath from Remax Elevate to have a bit of a chat about how the whole sales process and how it all went down.
In Tarragindi. We installed this one 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago. And I sent here with Kath. So Kath's one of my favourite agents that we do lots of work for in the area and only 15 minutes from our warehouse. But we wanted to get Kath on camera to come and have a bit of a chat because this one's a little bit different. It's been on the market before.
It has, yes. A couple of times,
yes.
Actually. This is the third time it's been on the market. About 6 weeks ago it was off market, yep, but it was listed with another agent with tenants in place, so it was very, very differently styled, let's put it that way.
Yep.
And that had, what do you want from there? Like that had a contract on?
Yeah,
was on a contract?
So prior to that was vacant when it was on the market?
Yeah, so no, the very first time was the owners were in place,
yeah.
and it was their furniture with a little bit of furniture and input from a stylist, but it wasn't great. Like it just wasn't beautiful. It wasn't indicative of how the space could be used.
Yeah.
And quite possibly they should have taken out more of their own personal furniture before having the styling done. So the integration wasn't excellent. At that time, it was impossible to get it sold for the price that they were looking for. And really, I think that came down to it wasn't being highlighted in the way that it has been this time around.
So I think when I have a chat with a vendor, when I go in,
yeah.
and we're talking about bringing in the furniture, something I always talk about is really important to make sure that the furniture we're bringing in reflects the price point that we're trying to achieve for the home.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're able to do, obviously, so much easier when it's vacant.
Yeah.
But if we're using a combination of the client's furniture, really important to make sure. So that's selfishly part of the reason why I'm here to talk about the benefits of quality staging.
Yes,
because
agreed.
there is a difference.
Of course, there's a difference, and I think one of the things that came up in this particular install was from the sellers. They said they wanted to potentially use a different stylist, and I was like, well, you could go ahead and do that, but I wouldn't be comfortable with that. So what it really came down to was we were either going to have this empty or you were going to style it, because if we went with a different stylist, we weren't going to get this same look and feel and the ability to highlight how incredible this property is.
Which it's come up gorgeous. So we did a walkthrough, property was vacant. I actually quoted, can you believe I forgot an entire bedroom? I forgot a whole bedroom at the install. So the guys had to go get another bedroom, which I can't do, which is talking too much. So we did a walkthrough, property was vacant. We really wanted to keep more of a resort vibe, really relaxed. Keep it very high end. We are in a city, for those who don't live in Brisbane, we're not too far from the CBD. How far are we from?
We're about 7 kilometres from CBD.
So we wanted to make sure that we kept that sort of high level feel. So tell us the story. We sold?
Yeah, we're sold. Yes, we sold really quickly, but not really quickly as in, somebody walked in and offered straight away. Obviously, we still do the full process. But the best part was the people who did come through, they loved it so much that we were able to get it under contract and cash unconditional with multiple offers after the first open home. And that's what really happens when you have all of the preparation done correctly, or the whole package. And that includes having the best the best styling, the best photographer, you know,
Best handyman to come and do patch up, all
Correct.
those sorts of things.
Yeah.
We painted walls, we did repairs downstairs. You need to tick all those boxes. Otherwise, you can't be one of the success stories. You can't expect the market just to drive the competition. It's there, but you're not going to get the success stories. Are you happy to share the return on investment the clients have?
Yeah. So in total, including the handyman, including styling, the whole shebang was $15,000, and that's a considerable sum of money for somebody to come up with. So obviously, we have to be able to show a return on that. What it was under contract for with the other agent when it was not styled 6 weeks ago, it was. What can we say that? No.
Russ, be quiet. Yes, we can say it. Sorry.
Thank you.
It's like the most important part of the whole video. All right. Yes, we can. Sorry. Pause. Yes. So it was under contract previously. I'd love to know that.
Okay, great. When it was under contract previously with another agent, it was under contract, and so not sold, under contract at 1.150. And that was a great result, and the sellers were happy to accept that contract. It did fall over because, of course, it will, because they didn't have the competition. They had tenants in here. Tenants are lovely, but often they're not going to. Well, they're never going to have it look like this. They won't even have it look as good as when a seller's living in the place. So 1.150, and then 6 weeks later, after doing the work, investing $15,000 and investing a lot of time and energy, we have it under contract and sold unconditionally at 1.275. So $125,000 extra was made on $15,000 and some work. Yeah. But that, I think, just speaks volumes.
Yeah. So I like to say that we try to get at least $1 for dollar investment, but you can show that you can get so much more when you do it all right, in tandem, the right team, the right agent, and the right knowledge.
Yeah,
so it's all of those things together. Yep. Well, thanks, Kath.
You're welcome.
All right, awesome.
We're going to now head back to the warehouse where Phoebe is going to chat further about this topic, around the same topic of different levels of staging or styling and getting what you pay for.
As the property came together, it was one of our favourite. We had heaps of new furniture in there. It's been one of our most popular Instagram posts that we've popped up as far as a finalised living space. But what I really wanted to get out of today's episode, Foxy TV, is a conversation about, and it's something that I have with a lot of vendors, about making sure you compare apples with apples when it comes to styling quotes. So there's a huge, and it's just with any industry, there's a big variety of stylists in Brisbane. And they're all end of the spectrum. So you have to have someone who's the cheapest and you have to have someone who's the most expensive. In Brisbane, we've also got a significant amount of stylists who also hire their stock. So Sydney and Melbourne, a little bit different. Most of the stylists down there actually own their inventory. Up here, it's a little bit different. We have most of our stylists up here actually hire the inventory. So just as a starting point, those quotes tend to be higher because they have to pass on a middleman cost. But I'm not talking about comparing prices, because if you're a price-driven customer, Tom Panos actually down at ARIC, so that's an Australian real estate conference that we went to, Jake and I went down, and he said, you know, there's two types of vendors, and then there are also two types of agents, and I also believe this can be translated across to stylists. So you're either a house price sale maximizer or you're a fee minimizer. So that you either fall into either category, you can't be both. So for me, there's always going to be vendors who are price driven, those who are after the cheapest quote, and that's fair enough. Budget has to drive a big decision, but you can't ask for the cheapest quote and have the best quality. They can't go hand in hand. So that's what the whole point about today. So I'm going to get Eva and Cody to put up on our Foxy TV the comparison photos. So you can see 45 Percy Street as its previous listing photos. You could have jumped onto realestate.com and had a look at these yourself, but we'll pop them up here so you can see the difference between tenanted furniture, which is fair enough, and it's fine as it's presented on its own. You're really restricted as to what you can do when there's a tenant in the property. But then also when we actually get in a stylist who brings in low-level styling, and that's when we're focused more on the pricing rather than we are on the quality. So like I said with Kath, something that's really important for us, and a discussion I have all the time, is it's really important to bring in furniture that is of the price point that reflects what we're trying to achieve for the home. So I can't bring in, and this is an interesting discussion point that a lot of people would like to point out to me, is if an agent can't sell a house that has Kmart furniture in it, then they're not a great agent. Well, yes, anyone can sell that house, but it's not going to be at the price point that you're going to be over the moon with if we bring in quality pieces. So I could sell it. but I can't do the same job a quality agent can do when you have quality styling and a quality presentation. And that's what I'm really hoping that you can get out of the whole of Foxy TV today. So there's a couple of different factors, and the biggest thing to be able to compare apples and apples, you've got to have a conversation with them, meet them, have a chat, make sure that your vision is reflected by their vision and that they're easy to have a conversation with. If they walk in and say, look, everything's at the stylist's discretion, you don't get a say. We come in we do it what we want on install day, we go with the style we want, there's no conversation. That's not gonna really gel well with most people. The other part is, have a look at their Instagram, have a look at their portfolio, jump onto their website and see their before and afters, and have a look and see how much furniture they bring in. Are they actually filling a room? Are we just doing, I've seen time and time again when we've lost a job based on budget. And for me, that's okay, because we're never gonna be the cheapest in Brisbane, it's not where we're gonna sit. So the vendors who go for cheaper styling, they're not our vendors, they're not the ones that we're looking for. There's always a market for them though, and the difference between the way that home's presented to the way that we would present it, compared to the way that also other stylists who do come in a higher price bracket than us would also present it. You've got 2 armchairs in a space that really should have a full lounge setting, armchairs, coffee table, floor rug, buffet and artwork. And normally we would see in a budget job, it's reduced to armchairs. You have a combined dining living space, which would really ideally be presented as a combined space. So when I say that, it means it's got a dining and a living area, both in the same area. Generally it's off the kitchen. When we go budget, we cut out the living space and it's presented with just a dining area. And that is really detrimental to your sale price. If you have a true combined dining living space in a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, and you take it out and you only present that home with 1 living area, it is detrimental to your sale price every day. So they're the little factors that it's really important that you do go by and check. Have a look at their Instagram, making sure that, yes, quote A might be cheaper than quote B. Quote A might be less explanatory than quote B, but you really need to do your due diligence. You do it with the real estate agent, so you really should do it with the stylist as well, just to make sure the reflection is across the board. And then that's how you'll get the best outcome, just like 45 Percy Street.
And to finish this fairly long episode, we had a question come through from Instagram asking how do we choose which bed size is best for the size of bedroom? So back to Phoebe.
I'll start on the higher end. If a room is bigger than 5 by 5 meters, bigger than 4.5 by 5 meters, so it's a nice big room, it's going to have a king bed in it, unless it's got light switches on the wall that don't fit a king bed head, and that the bed head would overlay the light switches, in which, so like pendant, you're frowning at me, Eva. So like you know, like a light switch above bed. Yeah. Like I'm lying in bed and I turn my pendant light off. So if they can be positioned so that only a queen fits. Mm-hmm. But conversely, they can be positioned so that it needs to be a king. Mm-hmm. So if we've got those dictating the size of the room, we need to take those into consideration. Otherwise, it's 4.5 to 5 meters. It's going to go king bed. If it's 2.7 meters and below, it's going to be a single bed. And pretty much a standard 3 by 3. It can fit a queen, but if it's a bedroom 2, 3 or 4, we're only going to put a double in it. We would never put a queen bed in bedrooms 2, 3 and 4, just like you'll never see us put a double bed in a master bedroom, because that's deceitful.
When would you use a nursery?
Sparingly. Gotcha. They're not my favorite, like I love them, they do pull on the emotional heartstrings and of those who are thinking of a family, not for all their buyers. But what it does to a smaller, and that's often when I get asked if we could incorporate a nursery, but what it does, it makes the room feel a lot smaller. You've got blocky furniture, like a bed is one piece that then is opened out into the artwork. You've got the bedside table and generally a round rug. So it's softer, it's pushed up against the wall and it frames the space. The nursery, you've got blocks, so you've got a cot, you've got a chair, you've got a rug, you've got other pieces, like it's just all in the corners of the room. It does nothing to make a space feel bigger.
What about a twin single?
Room has to be ginormous. Like for us, it'd have to be the same size, like 4.5 size room, but it also has to be definitely a family home. And I would say, because you're going to have generally, if I'm doing a twin single, it would be a room that has a house that's got 5 bedrooms. So it has to have at least 3 living areas. You can't do a 3-bedroom house with a twin single room in it. Like that doesn't make sense. So it has to be a really big family home that's got heaps of living spaces. We haven't done too many, like honestly, we've done like 5 or 6 ever. So we haven't done heaps.
Cool. Oh, one more thing.
They get our biggest likes on Facebook too.
Agua.
Yeah, take that Coca-Cola.
And that's it for Foxy TV episode 116. If you have any questions you'd like answered in future episodes, just leave them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.